The meeting room looked the same as it had a month ago, but everything else had changed. Hyun-Soo Kim sat at the same metal table, wearing the same simple black suit. But this time, the aliens across from him looked very different. Kethvar, the big blue Vorthan who had been so confident before, now sat with his head down. His yellow eyes kept looking at the table instead of at Hyun-Soo. His hands shook slightly when he reached for his water cup. "Ambassador Kim," Kethvar said quietly, "the Galactic Coalition has prepared a new proposal for humanity." "I'm listening," Hyun-Soo said. "We offer full recognition of human sovereignty over all current human territories," Kethvar began. "No restrictions on human military development, no oversight of human colonies, no limitations on human expansion." Behind Hyun-Soo, Jae-won Park tried not to smile. So-Young Lee was writing notes on her tablet, but he could see she was having trouble keeping a straight face too. "Continue," Hyun-Soo said. Mordain, the thin white crystalline, spoke next. Her crystal body was a pale blue color, which meant she was very nervous. "We also offer technology sharing agreements. Our best scientists working with your best scientists. Our knowledge combined with your knowledge." "For what purpose?" and So-Young asked. "To help the galaxy," Mordain said quickly. "To solve problems that affect all species. Disease, hunger, natural disasters. And in return?" Hyun-Soo asked. Kethvar looked up from the table. "We ask only that humanity consider the coalition as friends, as partners, as allies." "You want a mutual defense treaty," Jae-won said. "Yes," Kethvar said. "If humanity is attacked, the coalition will help defend you. If coalition worlds are attacked, we hope humanity would consider helping us." Hyun-Soo leaned back in his chair. "A month ago you demanded our surrender. Today you're asking for our protection. Why the change of heart?" The aliens looked at each other. Finally, a small gray alien named Sildar spoke up. He was from a species called the Observers, known for being very smart and very honest. "Because we were wrong," Sildar said simply. "We thought humanity was dangerous because you were growing too fast. We thought you were a threat to galactic peace." "And now?" So-Young asked. "Now we realize we were looking at the problem backwards," Sildar continued. "Humanity wasn't growing fast because you were dangerous. You were growing fast because you knew danger was coming." "Explain," Hyun-Soo said. Sildar pulled out a data pad. "Our historians have been studying human development since first contact. Every major human advancement corresponds to a potential galactic threat. You developed better ships when pirates started attacking trade routes. You built stronger weapons when the hegemony started expanding. You created the Grey Fleet when we started talking about containing you." "You were preparing for us," Mordain said quietly. "For this exact situation." "Yes," Hyun-Soo said. "We were." "For 300 years, Kethvar said. It wasn't a question. "For 300 years, Hyun-Soo confirmed. "Since the day we first met aliens, we knew that someday, someone would try to stop us from exploring the galaxy. We decided that when that day came, we would be ready." "But you never wanted to conquer anyone," Sildar said. "No," So-Young said. "We never wanted to rule the galaxy. We just wanted to make sure no one could stop us from exploring it." Jae-won leaned forward. "The coalition made one big mistake. You assumed that because we were preparing for war, we wanted war. But humans prepare for lots of things we don't want. We build hospitals hoping we'll never need them. We train firefighters hoping there will never be fires. You built the most advanced military in galactic history hoping you'd never have to use it," Kethvar said. "Exactly," Hyun-Soo said. Mordain's crystal body shifted to a green color, which meant she was thinking hard. "Your planet killer weapons. The ones we were so afraid of. What are they really?" So-Young smiled for the first time in the meeting. "Terraforming tools. They can reshape dead worlds into garden planets, turn asteroids into habitable moons, convert gas giants into Earth-like worlds." "And your quantum bombs?" "Mining equipment. They can dig tunnels through solid rock without damaging anything around them. Very useful for building underground cities." "Your invisible ships?" Exploration vessels, Jaewon said, designed to study dangerous phenomena without being affected by them. Black holes, neutron stars, quantum storms. Kethvar put his head in his hands. We were afraid of your terraforming equipment. You were afraid because you didn't understand what you were looking at, Hyun-soo said. Human technology looks scary to you because it's designed to work in hostile environments. We build things to survive in the deepest space on the most dangerous worlds in the most extreme conditions. Because you're explorers, Sildar said. Because we're explorers, Hyun-soo agreed. We want to see what's out there. We want to find new worlds, meet new species, discover new things. But we also want to make sure we can survive whatever we find. Speaking of which, So Young said, there's something you should know, something we discovered recently. She touched her tablet, and a new image appeared on the room's main screen. It showed deep space, the area between galaxies, but it wasn't empty. Strange structures floated in the void, clearly artificial, clearly very old. What are those? Mordain asked. Ruins, So Young said. The remains of a civilization that once existed between the galaxies. They're millions of years old, but some of their technology is still active. How did you find them? Kethvar asked. Our deep space exploration fleets, Jaewon said. The Grey Fleet wasn't just designed for war. It was designed to explore areas too dangerous for normal ships. While you were worried about our military, we were already mapping the space beyond this galaxy. What did you find? Sildar asked. Evidence that this civilization spanned multiple galaxies, So Young said. They were explorers too, just like us. But something destroyed them. Something that made them build massive defense stations in the void between stars. Defense against what? Mordain asked. We don't know yet, So Young said. But their data suggests it's still out there. Somewhere in the deep dark between galaxies, there's something that destroyed a civilization that was far more advanced than any of us. The room was very quiet. Finally, Kethvar spoke. You're saying there's a real threat out there. Something worse than anything we've ever faced. Maybe, Hyun-soo said. We don't know for sure, but that's why we need to keep exploring. That's why we need to keep advancing. That's why we built the capabilities we built. Not to conquer the galaxy, Jaewon said. To protect it. From something we haven't met yet, So Young added. Sildar looked at his fellow aliens. We've been arguing about who controls this galaxy, while humanity has been preparing to defend it from external threats. The Coalition's proposal, Hyun-soo said. Let me make sure I understand. You want to be our allies, instead of our enemies. Yes, Kethvar said. You want to share technology and work together on galactic problems. Yes, Mordain said. You want humanity to help protect Coalition worlds if they're threatened? Yes, Sildar said. In exchange, you'll recognize our right to explore and expand freely. Yes, all three aliens said together. Hyun-soo looked at Jaewon and So Young. They both nodded slightly. The United Human Government accepts your proposal, Hyun-soo said. With one addition. What addition? Kethvar asked. We want to establish joint exploration fleets, So Young said. Human ships and alien ships working together to explore the space beyond this galaxy, to find out what's really out there. And to make sure we're all ready for it when it arrives, Jaewon added. Agreed, Kethvar said quickly. Absolutely. Agreed. As the meeting ended and the aliens filed out, they looked very different from how they had looked a month ago. Instead of fear and anger, their faces showed hope and determination. Think they learned their lesson? Jaewon asked when they were alone. I think they learned that humanity isn't the threat they thought we were, So Young said. But they also learned that there might be real threats out there. Good, Hyun-soo said. Because we're going to need all the help we can get for what comes next. Later that day, Admiral Dong-hyun-yoon received reports from the deep space exploration fleets. The ruins between galaxies were just the beginning. There were signs of an ancient war fought on a scale that dwarfed anything the current galaxy had ever seen. Whatever destroyed that ancient civilization, Admiral Yoon said to his staff, It's still out there, and if it ever decides to visit our galaxy, we'll need every ship, every weapon, and every ally we can get. Captain Minho Choi looked at the star charts showing human territory and alien territory. Soon, they would all be working together. Soon, they would all be exploring the dark spaces between stars. The aliens thought we were dangerous because we were expanding too fast, he said. They had no idea we were expanding because we knew that someday, something would come looking for us. And when it does, Admiral Yoon said, humanity and our new allies will be ready for it. The galaxy had tried to stop humanity from growing. Instead, they had learned that humanity was growing to protect them all. The real adventure was just beginning. Grand Admiral Yitar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. He was a proud mantid, with green armor covering his insect body and 4 sharp eyes that could see in many different types of light. Around his ship, 3,000 other vessels waited in perfect formation. Status report, Yitar ordered. All fleets are in position, Admiral, his aide replied. 3,000 ships from 15 different species, the largest battle fleet ever assembled. Yitar looked at the view screen showing Starbase Omega ahead of them. The fortress was enormous, bigger than a moon. Its quantum shields glowed blue around its metal surface. Weapons that could destroy planets pointed out in all directions. The humans have 48 hours to respond to our demonstration, Yitar said. If they don't surrender after seeing our power, we will destroy their nearest colony. Sir, his communications officer said, we're receiving a message from the human scout ship Inchen's Ghost. Put it through, Yitar ordered. The view screen changed to show a young human woman. She had short black hair and calm eyes. Her uniform was simple and clean. Behind her, Yitar could see the bridge of a small human ship. This is Captain Bo-Ra-An of the Inchen's Ghost, she said. I'm here to deliver a message from the United Human Government. Speak, Yitar said. You have 1 hour to withdraw your fleet from this system, Captain An said. Her voice was polite but firm. This is not a threat. This is a courtesy. Yitar's mandibles clicked with amusement. Captain, you are one small ship facing 3,000 warships. Are you sure you want to threaten us? I'm not threatening you, Admiral, Captain An replied. I'm warning you, there's a difference. And what exactly are you warning us about? Captain An smiled. It wasn't a mean smile, but it wasn't friendly either. You're about to see what happens when humans stop being polite. The transmission ended. Yitar looked around his bridge at his officers. Several of them were making chittering sounds, which was how mantids laughed. One ship, Yitar said. One small human ship thinks it can scare 3,000 of our best vessels. Orders, sir? His tactical officer asked. We wait, Yitar said. Let them see our strength. When their hour is up and nothing happens, they'll realize how hopeless their situation is. 59 minutes later, everything changed. It started with Starbase Omega. The massive fortress was there 1 second and gone the next. Not destroyed. There was no explosion, no debris, no energy signature. The base simply wasn't there anymore. Report, Yitar shouted. Sir, the starbase has disappeared, his sensor officer said. All readings show empty space where it used to be. That's impossible. Check your equipment. Equipment is functioning normally, sir. The base is just gone. Before Yitar could respond, another voice came over the communication system. This one was male, older, with a calm authority that made everyone on the bridge stop talking. Grand Admiral Yitar, the voice said. This is Admiral Changmin Lee of the Human Grey Fleet. Please look around you. Yitar ordered his sensors to scan the area around his fleet. What he saw made his 4 eyes widen in terror. Ships. Thousands of human ships surrounding his entire fleet. They hadn't been there a moment before, but now they were everywhere. They looked strange, like they were made of shadow and light at the same time. How did you get so close without us seeing you? Yitar asked. We've been here the whole time, Admiral Lee replied. We just weren't in your dimension. Quantum superposition allows our ships to exist in multiple realities at once. We choose which reality to manifest in, Yitar felt his insect heart racing. What do you want? To show you something, Admiral Lee said. Your fleet is now inside a localized time dilation field. You have experienced 1 minute. Outside this field, 3 hours have passed. That's impossible, Yitar said. Check your chronometers, Admiral Lee suggested. Yitar looked at his instruments. According to his ship's clock, only 1 minute had passed since the human ships appeared. But his long-range sensors showed that the stars had moved. 3 hours worth of stellar movement. We could keep you here for years, Admiral Lee continued. Decades, centuries. To you it would feel like minutes. To the rest of the galaxy, you would simply vanish. Your families would grow old and die while you experienced a few hours. You're bluffing, Yitar said, but his voice was shaking. Captain Subin-Yu, Admiral Lee said, please demonstrate our commitment to this course of action. Another voice came over the communications, this one belonging to a young woman. Admiral Yitar, this is Captain Yu. My ship is currently holding your flagship's engine core in a temporal suspension field. If you look at your engineering displays, you'll see that your reactor has been frozen in time. Yitar's engineering officer checked his screens. Sir, she's right. Our main reactor is showing 0 activity, but we still have power. How is that possible? Yitar asked. We're feeding you power from outside the time field, Captain Yu explained. We can control every system on your ship from out here. Your weapons, your shields, your life support, everything. What do you want from us? Yitar asked. Nothing, Admiral Lee said. We want you to go home. We want you to tell your leaders what you've seen here. We want them to understand that humanity doesn't want to fight a war. Then why are you doing this? Because you forced us to, Admiral Lee replied. You came here with 3,000 ships to threaten us. You brought weapons that can destroy planets. You demanded our surrender. You could have just surrendered, Yitar said weakly. No, Admiral Lee said, and his voice was harder now. We couldn't. Do you know why, Admiral? Why? Because humans don't surrender. We adapt, we overcome, we survive. It's what we do. The time field around Yitar's fleet suddenly disappeared. 3 hours of time caught up to them all at once. Alarms started ringing on every ship as their computers tried to process what had happened. Admiral, his sensor officer said, we're receiving messages from our homeworlds. They're asking why we haven't reported in for 3 hours. What do I tell them? Yitar asked. Tell them the truth, Admiral Lee said. Tell them you found out what happens when you threaten humanity. And the starbase? Safe, Admiral Lee said. We didn't destroy it. We moved it to a parallel dimension. It still exists, but in a reality you can't reach. Your people are alive and unharmed. They're just somewhere else now. Can you bring it back? Of course. When this war is over, and when the galaxy agrees to leave humanity alone, we'll return everything we've displaced. But until then, Starbase Omega will serve as a reminder. A reminder of what? That humans have been preparing for this war for 300 years. That we know things about time and space that you don't. That we can fight this war in ways you never imagined. Yitar looked around his bridge at his terrified officers. 3,000 ships, the pride of the galactic military, had been helpless against technology they couldn't understand. What happens now? He asked. Now you go home, Admiral Lee said. You tell your leaders that humanity is willing to talk, but we'll be talking as equals, not as your prisoners. And if they refuse to talk, then you'll learn what our real weapons can do, Admiral Lee said quietly. What you've seen today was just a demonstration. Our actual military capabilities are significantly more impressive. The human ships began to fade away, disappearing back into whatever dimension they had come from. Soon, Yitar's fleet was alone in empty space where Starbase Omega used to be. Admiral, his communications officer said, we're receiving new orders from command. We're to return home immediately. Set course for home, Yitar ordered. As his fleet turned away from the empty space, Yitar realized something that made his insect blood run cold. The humans hadn't just defeated the largest military force in galactic history. They had done it without firing a single shot. The war was over before it had even begun, and humanity had won. Now the only question was, what would they do with their victory? Fleet Admiral Zekthar stared at the datapad in his clawed hands. His blue scales were turning pale, which happened when Vorthons got very scared. He had been reading the human message for the third time, and it still didn't make sense. "This can't be real," he said to his aide, a younger Vorthon named Kektar. "Sir, our intelligence division confirmed it." Kektar replied, "Every piece of information in that report is correct. The humans know everything about our fleets." Zekthar looked at the screen showing his secret naval base. According to the human report, they knew exactly how many ships he had, what weapons they carried, even what he had eaten for breakfast that morning. "How?" he asked. "How did they get this information?" "We don't know, sir. Our security systems show no breaches. No one has accessed our networks. No spies have been caught." Zekthar threw the datapad across the room. It hit the wall and broke into pieces. "Get me Intelligence Chief Mordain now." On the other side of the galaxy, Mordain was having her own crisis. She was a crystalline, which meant her body was made of living crystal. When crystallines got upset, their bodies changed color. Right now, Mordain was bright red, the color of extreme anger and fear. "Explain this to me," she said to her team of intelligence officers. "How do humans know the personal details of our deep cover agents?" Her aide, a nervous crystal being named Sildar, checked his notes. "According to their report, they have files on every one of our spies. They know their real names, their cover identities, their mission objectives." "That's impossible," Mordain said. "Some of those agents have been in place for decades. Their identities are known only to me and the Supreme Council." "There's more, ma'am," Sildar said quietly. "They also have complete records of every classified meeting held in the past 3 years, including the ones where we planned this operation against humanity." Mordain's crystal body flickered between red and black. Black was the crystalline color of pure terror. "Get me War Marshal Thekron. Emergency priority." War Marshal Thekron was already in an emergency meeting when the call came in. He was a Calarian, a species that looked like giant red insects. His forearms were waving in agitation as he spoke to his generals. "They know our troop movements," he said. "They know our supply lines. They know which planets have weak defenses and which ones have strong defenses." "How is this possible?" asked General Vextai, another Calarian. "We've been planning this operation in secret for months." "According to this report," Thekron said, holding up his copy of the human message, "they've been watching us plan it. They have recordings of our meetings. They have copies of our battle plans." One of his aides spoke up. "Sir, there's something else. We just received a message from Captain Hyunwoo Jang of the human freighter Soul's Pride." "What kind of message?" Thekron asked. "He says he's been sitting in the middle of our most secure naval base for 6 months, invisible, recording everything." The room went very quiet. Every alien in the meeting looked at each other with frightened eyes. "That's impossible, General," Vextai said. "Starbase Omega is the most protected facility in the galaxy. Nothing gets in without our permission." "He sent proof," the aide said quietly. "Live video feed from inside the base. He's watching our ships right now." Thekron felt his insect heart beating very fast. "Is he threatening us?" "No, sir. His message says he's not there to fight. He's there to prove a point. He says humans aren't interested in war. They're just prepared for it." Meanwhile, on a dozen different alien worlds, similar scenes were playing out. Human traders who had been selling goods on alien planets for years suddenly revealed themselves as intelligence agents. Human tourists who had been visiting alien colonies turned out to be military scouts. Human diplomats who had been working in alien governments were actually deep cover operatives. None of them had been hiding. They had been doing their jobs openly, in plain sight. The aliens just hadn't realized what their real jobs were. On the hegemony homeworld, Captain Young Ho Kim of the human trade ship New Busan sent a message to the planetary government. "Hello," his message said. "I've been selling electronics on your world for 2 years. I thought you should know that your planetary defense grid has a critical flaw in its quantum encryption. Anyone with a standard human datapad could shut down your shields in about 10 minutes. On the manted colony world of Keth Prime, Lieutenant, Su-Bin Yu of the Human Cultural Exchange Program sent her own message. I've been teaching your children human history for 3 years. During that time, I've also been mapping your underground tunnel systems. Your military bunkers are in the wrong places. An enemy could easily bypass them. On the Vorthon military world of Draktar, Sergeant Minseo Park of the Human Military Liaison Office sent the most frightening message of all. I've been working in your communications center for 4 years. I have copies of every military order sent in that time. I also have access to your current command codes. If humanity wanted to start a war, your own ships would fire on each other before you knew we were attacking. Supreme Chancellor Vextai of the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from all member species gathered in the Great Meeting Hall. The mood was very different from the confident atmosphere of 3 days earlier. Report, Chancellor Vextai ordered. Fleet Admiral Zekthar spoke first. Every fleet position is compromised. Every ship movement is being tracked. Every communication is being monitored. Intelligence Chief Mordain spoke next. Every spy network is exposed. Every secret operation is known. Every classified plan has been copied. War Marshal Thakron spoke last. Every military base is being watched. Every defense system is mapped. Every weakness is documented. The Chancellor's 6 arms trembled with fear. How long have they been doing this? Based on their reports, Mordain said, since first contact, 300 years. 300 years. The Chancellor repeated slowly. They've been preparing for this war for 300 years. It gets worse, Zekthar said. Their message says this intelligence was gathered by their children as school projects. The meeting hall erupted in frightened voices. Aliens of 50 different species all talking at once, all asking the same question. What else can the humans do? Order, the Chancellor shouted. Order! When the hall was quiet, again he continued, what are our options? We could still attack, Thakron said, but his voice was uncertain. We have more ships than they do. Do we? Mordain asked. According to their intelligence report, we've only seen a fraction of their real military. Most of their ships are hidden. Where? Zekthar asked. We don't know, Mordain admitted. They call it the Grey Fleet. Ships that exist in quantum superposition. We can't detect them because they're not technically in our dimension. Chancellor Vextai felt very old and very tired. How many ships are we talking about? Unknown, Mordain said. But their report suggests tens of thousands. And we gave them an ultimatum, Thakron said quietly. Yes, the Chancellor said. We told the most dangerous species in the galaxy that they had to surrender or be destroyed. What do we do now? Asked a small alien from the back of the room. Chancellor Vextai looked around at all the frightened faces. 3 days ago, these same beings had been confident and strong. They had been ready to force humanity to kneel. Now they were scared of shadows. Now, he said slowly, we pray that humans are as peaceful as they claim to be. Because if they're not, we've just given them every reason to destroy us all. In the darkness of space, invisible human ships moved into position around every major alien world. The aliens couldn't see them, couldn't detect them, couldn't stop them. The galaxy had demanded humanity's surrender. Instead, they had revealed that humanity had already won a war the aliens didn't even know they were fighting. Now, everyone would learn what humans did to people who threatened their freedom. The emergency meeting room in Earth's capital was full of people. Sujin Han, the president of United Humanity, sat at the head of a large round table. Around her sat the most important humans in the galaxy: military leaders, scientists, colony, governors, and intelligence chiefs. All of them looked serious. Admiral Dong-Hyun Yoon stood at a large screen showing a map of the galaxy. He was an old man, maybe 60 years old, with gray hair and scars on his hands from old battles. He had been fighting aliens for most of his life. "The Coalition gave us 72 hours, Admiral Yoon said. "That was 6 hours ago. We have 66 hours left before they attack." "What do they have?" asked General Wu Jin Nam. He was younger than the Admiral, but his eyes were just as hard. He was in charge of all human ground forces. 15,000 ships, Admiral Yoon replied. "Maybe 20,000 if they call in all their reserves. 50 different species. Weapons that can destroy planets." A woman at the table laughed. Her name was Yoonji Kang, and she was the smartest scientist on Earth. She had short gray hair and wore simple clothes, but her brain was worth more than entire fleets. "Something funny, Doctor?" President Han asked. "They think they know our weapons," Yoonji said. "They talk about our planet-killer missiles and our quantum bombs. They have no idea what we really have." "Explain," the president said. Yoonji stood up and walked to another screen. Pictures appeared showing human ships and weapons. "They've been watching us for 3 years. They think they know everything about our military, but they only see what we let them see." "The decoy fleets," said Colonel Young Ho Shin. He was a thin man with quick eyes. He was in charge of human intelligence operations. "Exactly," Yoonji said. "For 3 years we've been showing them fake weapons and fake ships. We let them steal plans for weapons that don't work. We let them count ships that don't exist. We made them think they understood us." Admiral Yoon smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Meanwhile, our real weapons were being built in secret. "What real weapons?" asked Governor Taemin Song. He was in charge of the outer colony worlds, the ones closest to alien space. Yoonji touched the screen. New pictures appeared. Ships that looked strange, like they were made of shadow and light. Weapons that seemed to bend space around them. Technology that looked like magic. "The Gray Fleet," she said quietly. 40,000 ships that exist in quantum superposition. They're there and not there at the same time. Alien sensors can't see them because they're technically not in this dimension. The room was very quiet. Even the military leaders looked surprised. "How long have you been building these?" President Han asked. 300 years, Yoonji said. "Ever since we first met aliens, we knew this day would come. Every human colony has secret shipyards. Every human world has hidden weapons. We've been preparing for Galactic War since before most of these aliens were born." Colonel Shin leaned forward. "What about our intelligence networks?" "That's the best part," he said with a small smile. "Every alien world has human traders on it. Every alien fleet has human observers with it. Every alien government has human diplomats in it. For 3 years, we've been mapping everything they have." "Everything?" General Nam asked. "Everything," Colonel Shin confirmed. "Ship positions, weapon types, command structures, supply lines, personal information on their leaders. We know more about their military than they do." President Han looked around the table. "Are you telling me we've been playing a game while they thought they were conducting real negotiations?" "Yes, Madam President," Admiral Yoon said. "We knew they would never accept us as equals, so we prepared for the day they would try to make us servants." "Options?" the President asked. "We could surrender," said Governor Song. "Let them think they won. Keep our real capabilities secret." "No," said General Nam. "If we surrender now, they'll never stop pushing us. Today they want our weapons. Tomorrow they'll want our freedom." "We could run," said another governor. "Take our people and leave this galaxy. Find somewhere else to live." "Also no," said Yoonji. "We spent 300 years building our civilization here. We're not going to abandon it because some aliens got scared. That leaves fighting," President Han said. "Yes," Admiral Yoon said, "but not the kind of fighting they expect." "Explain." Admiral Yoon touched the screen. The star map changed, showing human territory and alien territory. "They expect us to meet their fleets in open space. Big battles with lots of ships shooting at each other. They think they'll win because they have more ships." "But?" the President asked. "But we don't fight wars the way they do," General Nam said. "We fight smart. We fight dirty. We fight to win." Yoonji smiled. We're going to show them something they've never seen before. We're going to make them understand that humans don't just fight wars, we rewrite the rules of war. The demonstration? Colonel Shin said. Yes, Admiral Yoon said. We're going to pick one of their strongest positions, something they think is impossible to attack, and we're going to make it disappear. Disappear? President Han asked. Not destroy, Yoonji said. Displacement. We'll move their entire fortress into a parallel dimension. It'll still exist, but they won't be able to reach it. Ever. The room was quiet again. Finally, President Han spoke. And after the demonstration? They'll want to talk again, Admiral Yoon said. But this time they'll be talking to us as equals, not as their servants. What if they don't want to talk? Governor Song asked. What if they get angry and attack us with everything they have? Then we'll show them the rest of our capabilities, General Nam said, and they'll learn why humans rule this galaxy, not them. President Han stood up. Everyone else stood up too. Gentlemen, ladies, we've been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries. Our ancestors knew this day would come. They built the weapons, they trained the soldiers, they made the plans. Now it's our turn to use them. Protocol Omega is authorized, she continued. Admiral Yoon, prepare the Gray Fleet. Dr. Kang, ready the displacement weapons. Colonel Shin, activate all intelligence assets. General Nam, prepare ground forces for any possibility. And our response to their ultimatum? Admiral Yoon asked. President? Han smiled. It was a cold smile like ice in winter. We're going to send them a message they'll never forget. 6 hours later, Major Tae Jun Song sat in a small ship flying toward the alien space station. He carried with him a single data pad. On that pad was humanity's response to the alien ultimatum. The message was short. It said, "We respectfully decline your offer. Please find our counterproposal attached." The attachment was not a diplomatic document. It was a complete intelligence report on every alien military asset in the galaxy. Ship names, captain names, weapon types, shield frequencies, supply schedules, personal files on every important alien leader. At the bottom of the report was a single line. This information was compiled by human high school students as a class. Project. Please do not mistake our desire for peace as weakness. Major Song smiled as he delivered the message. The aliens thought they were dealing with a young, weak species that got lucky with technology. They were about to learn that they were dealing with the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. Humans had been hunting in space for 300 years. The aliens had just made themselves the prey. The galaxy was about to change forever, and humanity was ready for whatever came next. The meeting room was quiet except for the soft hum of air filters. Hyun-Soo Kim sat at the long metal table, his hands folded in front of him. He wore a simple black suit, nothing fancy. Across from him sat 12 alien representatives from different worlds. They all looked different, but they all had the same cold look in their eyes. Hyun-Soo was the human ambassador. He had been doing this job for 5 years now. He was good at staying calm even when things got bad. Today he could feel that things were about to get very bad. The biggest alien at the table was Kaithvar. He was from the Vorthan Empire. His skin was dark blue and covered in scales. His eyes were yellow like a cat's eyes. When he spoke, his voice was deep and scary. Ambassador Kim, Kaithvar said slowly. We have been talking for 3 years. 3 long years. The Galactic Coalition has been very patient with your species. Hyun-Soo nodded, but said nothing. Behind him sat Jae-Won Park, a military commander. Jae-Won was younger than Hyun-Soo, maybe 35 years old. He had short black hair and sharp eyes. He was watching every alien in the room. Next to Jae-Won sat So-Young Lee. She was the smartest person Hyun-Soo had ever met. She was in charge of all human science projects. She had long black hair tied back in a simple style. She was writing notes on a small computer tablet. Your species grows too fast, said another alien. This one was thin and white, like a walking skeleton. Her name was Mordain. You build too many ships, you make too many weapons, you take too many planets. We take empty planets. Hyun-soo said quietly. We don't take planets that already have people on them. That's not the point, Kethavar said, his voice getting louder. You grow too fast. In just 300 years, you went from 1 planet to 500 planets. That's not normal. That's dangerous. Hyun-soo looked around the room. Every alien was staring at him. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. All of them looked like they had already made up their minds. The coalition has decided, Kethavar continued. Humanity must accept our protection. You must follow our rules. You must give up your dangerous weapons. So-young looked up from her tablet. Her face was calm, but Hyun-soo could see anger in her eyes. She was very good at hiding her feelings, but Hyun-soo had worked with her for years. What weapons are you talking about? So-young asked. Kethavar pulled out a datapad. Your planet killer missiles, your quantum bombs, your invisible ships, your communication networks that work faster than light. These things are too dangerous for one species to control. Jae-won made a small sound, almost like a laugh. He tried to hide it, but some of the aliens heard him. They looked at him with angry eyes. Is something funny, Commander Park? Asked a red alien with 4 arms. His name was Thekron. No, sir, Jae-won said. Nothing at all. Kethavar stood up. He was very tall, almost 8 feet. The coalition offers humanity a deal. Give up your weapons. Let us watch over your planets. Follow our laws. In return, we will protect you. We will make sure no one hurts humanity. And if we say no? Hyun-soo asked. The room got very quiet. All the aliens looked at each other. Finally, Kethavar spoke. If you say no, the coalition will have to protect itself from humanity. We have 15,000 ships. We have weapons that can destroy stars. We have soldiers from 50 different worlds. Humanity has been lucky so far, but luck doesn't last forever. Hyun-soo felt his heart beating faster, but his face didn't change. He had been expecting this. The humans had been expecting this for a long time. You're threatening us, Hyun-soo said. We're protecting the galaxy, Mordain said. Sometimes protection requires hard choices. So-young closed her tablet and looked at Kethavar. What exactly do you want us to give up? Kethavar smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. All planet-killer weapons must be destroyed. All military ships bigger than a destroyer must be given to us. All faster-than-light communication must be controlled by the coalition. All new human colonies must be approved by us first. That's everything, Jae-won said quietly. That's the point, Thekron said. Humans are too dangerous to be left alone. Hyun-soo stood up slowly. The aliens all watched him. Some of them put their hands on their weapons. They were scared of him, even though he was just one man in a room full of enemies. We need time to think about this, Hyun-soo said. You have 72 hours, Kethavar said. After that, the coalition will do what it must do. And our people on the border planets? So-young asked. They should start packing, Mordain said with a cold smile. The meeting was over. The aliens filed out of the room one by one. Some of them looked back at the humans with angry eyes. Others looked scared. A few looked sad, like they didn't really want to do this. When all the aliens were gone, the 3 humans sat alone in the quiet room. Well, Jae-won said, that went about as well as we expected. They have no idea, So-young said, shaking her head. They really have no idea what they just did. How long until we get back to Earth? Hyun-soo asked. 6 hours, Jae-won said. Captain Choi has the ship ready to go. Hyun-soo nodded. Send a message ahead. Tell them the talks have failed. Tell them to start Protocol Omega. So-young looked worried. Are you sure? Once we start that, there's no going back. They made the choice for us, Hyun-soo said. We offered to share the galaxy with them. We offered to work together. We offered peace. They want to put us in a cage instead. The president won't be happy, Jae-won said. The president knew this. Might happen, Hyun-soo replied. That's why we prepared for it. They walked out of the meeting room together, The space station was huge, with long metal corridors and bright lights. Aliens from many different worlds walked past them. Some stared at the humans with curious eyes. Others ignored them completely. "Do you think they'll really attack us?" So Young asked as they walked. "Yes," Hyun-soo said. "They're too scared not to. Fear makes people do stupid things." "Good thing we're not scared," Jae-won said with a small smile. "No," Hyun-soo said. "We're not scared. We're ready." They reached their ship at the docking bay. It was a small, simple vessel called the Soul's Light. Captain Minho Choi was waiting for them at the door. He was a short man with graying hair and smart eyes. "How did it go?" Captain Choi asked. "Exactly like we expected," Hyun-soo said. "Get us home, Captain. We have work to do." As the ship pulled away from the station, Hyun-soo looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, 15,000 alien ships were getting ready for war. They thought they were strong. They thought humans were weak and scared. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The galaxy had just made the biggest mistake in its history. It had given humanity a reason to stop playing nice. Hyun-soo smiled as the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. The aliens thought they knew everything about human technology. They were about to discover they knew almost nothing at all. The real war was about to begin, and humanity had been preparing for this war for 300 years.